Today we are making a video on PakOS. This Linux distro is from Pakistan. This is the first Linux distro from Pakistan, I guess, because I didn't even made any video on the Pakistan Linux OS distros. Maybe I don't even know they are making or not. This is the one I was searching in the SourceForge and in the DistroWatch. I randomly found it. It says it's based on Debian. So let's go through all these things and check what is with the PakOS. So we have a live boot, that's good option. So on the utilities we have hardware detection tool. Let's go back and try to boot it in a live mode. And I forgot to mention that I'm running it on a VMware, which is a virtualization with 80 GB of hard disk, 4 GB of RAM and 2 processors. So it's based on Debian and the version of PakOS is 2023.04. I don't have any much info about this Linux distro. I'm going to show you the website and I'm going to show you the download option. And I don't even know what the desktop environment is in the PakOS because I didn't have any info of the Linux distro. Again, it usually takes like 1 minute. Which is pretty common in every Linux distro. 1 minute is the common timing which should open the desktop layout, or minimum like a 30 to 40 seconds. That's the usual or the best Linux distros will open in that time. Some of the heavyweight Linux distros will take like a minute or minute and a half, sometimes 2 minutes like that. So it's still taking a lot of time, maybe like a 30 seconds I guess. So let's wait. We don't know anything about this Linux distro, just we should wait and research about the Linux distro or explore the Linux distro on our own, because I think none of the people made or none of the YouTuber made a Linux distro, a video on this Linux distro. So I think I was the first, or I am the first I guess. So let's hope we get a good desktop environment. So here is our mouse pointer. As you can see, it works properly, but we don't know what desktop environment is available right now. Looks like some other type of desktop environment. We don't know what desktop environment is here. It looks like a Windows copy, bit of Windows copy, but we don't know properly. So let's change the display resolution because it's pretty odd. So let's try to search it here. PakOS. Let's type in display. It's a LXQt desktop environment, as you can see there. I think we don't need to type in display. We need to type in monitor because the LXQt has there is a monitor settings here. So let's change the display resolution. My monitor is a 1920 x 1080. Let's hope we have that resolution. And we don't have the 1920 x 1080. That's a pretty common setting, but people still don't give that setting. If you want, you can change that in command, but I don't want to change that. Let's go with the 1316 to 768. The graphics or the image should be bad, but let's still go with it. Let me keep the aspect ratio. So let's check some of the info. You need to remove that thing to get all the apps. So about LXQt, let's check the version, which is a 0.16.0. so let's open the system monitor if it's available. Let's find the system monitor preference. We should be having some of the apps I guess. So let's first check the pre-installed apps or which comes with PakOS. These are all the pre-installed apps which comes up with PakOS. So programming, sound and audio, system tools. System tools should be having here is the task manager. Let me put it to tree and thread, and here is the CPU. CPU is almost 7.8% and memory is almost 816 MB and cached at 870 MB. And you need to remember that it is a LXQt desktop environment. It is a lightweight desktop environment. So let's go through all these things. So these are all the processes running right now. So let's check the version of the task manager, which is a QPS 2.2.0. So uptime is almost 5 minutes, and the no swap memory is here and CPUs are here. So let me close this thing and open the terminal. What is this? Rofi launcher? I don't know what it is. And here it is. I think it's based on Debian Linux distro, and shell bash version is a 5.1.4. Kernel is a 5.10, which is old version, and here is my CPU. If you want, you can do that or see here. So let me type in some of the commands like inxi -sv8. Let's hope if I typed inxi instead of inxi, I typed ibxi. inxi-sv8. Click on enter. We should be having our complete distro info, because that's the command which grabs every distro info. So host is a Debian and kernel is a 5.10, which I already mentioned. It's a 64-bit. GCC version is a 10.2.1, and distro is Debian New Linux 11 Bullseye, but it's PakOS. And LXQt version is 0.16.1. So BIOS Linux version is 6.0, which is almost every time is the same version. So RAM total is consuming is here. So let's scroll it down, and here is the CPU and some CPU info. If you want, you can go through all these things. So let's slowly go through all this other info, which is VMWGFX version is 2.18.0. and XOR version is 1.20.11, and display is X11. So Mesa is a 20.3.5, LLVM version is a 4.1. So let's slowly scroll down and see what are all the other options available. And here is my hard disk, and it says VMware because I'm running it on a VMware. So let's scroll it down and find out other options. These are all the info. If you want, you can read. It's up to you. So still there is some of the info. Let's scroll it down, and INXI version is a 3.3.01, and just ignore the background noise of the microphone because random people are speaking here. So shell bash version is a 5.1.4, and ignore the keyboard and mouse typings also. There's plenty of noises going around my house or my neighborhood. Just ignore that. Sorry for the inconvenience. So these are the versions. So let's type in the same commands in the short form. The info will be same, but it in a short form. So let me show you how. So let me type in inxi. It will give us some of the info. Again, it's the same info from the above, but it's in a short form. That's main info. So let's type in inxi-b. There will be also same info. Just the important info, that's it. inxi-G. Click on enter. Again, same info. So let's type in cat:/etc/issue, and here is the Debian New Linux 11 Bullseye. NeoFetch is already shown, so I don't need to show it again. Let's type in Hestop. Hestop is not found. No problem. Let's close this thing and let's see what it is. It's a application menu. I thought something different, but it's a application menu. They already gave here, but I don't know why they gave it here again. So no problem. So let me show you how to download the PakOS, or I'll show you how to go to their website. And the Firefox is the default web browser available. So let's see if it's other available. Just the Firefox ESR. I think the version should be like a 78, I guess. So let's check the version of the Firefox first and go to the website later. The version is 102. That's almost a new version. Not the new, but 10 versions less. The latest version is a 1112. So let me close the web browser and type in PakOS. This is the search term you need to type in the search bar, or just type in PakOS Linux. We should be having our website. So here is the source code. You can go to the distro watch if you want. It's from Pakistan. So this is the source code website. So they give some of the info here. You can read it if you want. It's clearly up to you. So LXQt desktop environment. These are some of the available things. They say it's lightweight because it's LXQt. So you already know LXQt consumes less resources. Let's go to the files and see the latest version. The latest version is 2023-04-16, which is this version which I'm using right now. So you should go to the main, or you can directly go and click on the download. The file size is around like a 2.77 GB, the ISO file size GB, and it's a 64-bit architecture. And it should take like a 3-5 seconds, and the download should be here. And the download started. I'm using a VPN, so it's going to take a few seconds, and we don't even want to download because we already have the ISO file and we are making a video on it. As you can see, there is a bit of lag or delay there. So let me show you the installation process. The installer has a Pakistan flag, no problem. And the file isn't install PakOS, seems to be desktop entry. Would you want to do with it? Let's execute it. Again, it's going to take a few seconds, I guess. And here is our installer, which is a Calaveras installer for PakOS 11. Let's check the version, 3.2.36. First, you need to choose your language. It's a pretty common or a simple Linux installation process. You don't need to, there is nothing complicated. It's always the same. First, you need to choose your language. There are plenty of languages available. Click on next. It's going to show you the location. Here is a drop down menu. You can choose it from here, or just type in on the map or click on map. I'm going to choose the Los Angeles. I'm going to choose any other. I'm not going to show you the actual location. You don't need to provide your actual location. Just choose any random thing or your favorite location. And I forgot to mention, if you want, you can customize some of the settings here. So click on next after choosing that. I'm using a Dell wireless keyboard, but it always opens the generic 105 key PC, but it always works for me, so I'm going to choose that one. You need to choose your keyboard layout, choose your languages, any language you want. I'm going to just keep the English and default. Click on next. And you should be having an idea, or you should be very careful while choosing the partition, because it's going to erase everything or even delete the operating system if you're using a hard disk or SSD. If you are using a VMware, so no problem if you're using a VMware. And you should be having your hard disk here. You should know what hard disk is available here. I'm using a single hard disk. If you have multiple, you should be choosing your right hard disk. So if you want to single boot, you choose erase disk. It's going to delete everything and boot it in a single boot. If you want manual partitioning like a dual boot, you can choose it. You will be having a dual operating system. It all depends on you. If you customize on your own. So if you want to encrypt, you need to provide two same passwords, and you should be encrypting. And here is the bootloader location. It's always a better option to choose the automatic one. If you want to install it later, you can do that. If you don't want, it's clearly up to you. So click on next. You need to give the credentials of a username, password, like that. You don't need to provide the actual username and password. Just type in random things, and not the random password, because you need to remember the password. If you forgot the password, it's going to be torture. So always remember the password. For the sake of the video, I'm just going to use the simple password, because I'm not going to install it. This is the installation process. So if everything is perfect, you should be having a tick mark right here, or the check mark here. So log in automatically without asking for the password. It's clearly up to you to choose what you are doing here. So click on next. And here is the summary of what you've done in the previous steps of the installation. So I choose the Los Angeles keyboard, and I choose the erase disk, complete disk as like a single boot. So this every summary is here. And after clicking on install, these are all the things going to happen to your hard disk. It's going to take like a maximum of 10 to 20 minutes, or minimum like 5 to 8 minutes, like that. It all depends on your PC or depends on the Linux distro. So after the installation, you should be having a hard disk. or if you choose the live boot, it's a good option. So you need to just exit this thing. In a live boot, if you save anything, it's not going to stay it. So remember that too. So that's the installation process. So let's open some of the apps which are available here, which is a file manager. Again, file manager took some time there, and the Pacman version is 0.16.0. Let's check out some of the desktop features, which is a date and calendar, volume, language, internet connection, some task panel, all this task manager, all this configuration, everything you can customize on your own. So let's see what are the available wallpapers right now. On the background we have, I think, a few wallpapers. There is no wallpapers here. I don't know where it is, but let's close this thing. As you can see, there is a bit of lag or a delay here and there. So on the accessories, there are plenty of apps. We don't want to open every app because it's going to take a lot of time. Let's check the important apps only. I already showed the Firefox browser. On the Office side, you have OnlyOffice. We don't have a LibreOffice, no problem. And on the other, ClamTK, Internet Manager, I think. This is some PakOS apps. You can go through all these things. Let's open the PakOS security. Let's find out what it is. Here are the options. It's like antivirus, all these things. So let's check the version of OnlyOffice. Here is the version 7.3.0.184, and GIMP version should be 2.10.22. No problem. Let's close this thing. I think what we still left is some of the apps. Let's open Synaptic Package Manager, which is also important. On the system tools, Discover. On programming, Genie, Icon Browser, Sound and Video. Nothing important, I guess. So let's stay with the apps and check the version and end the video. About Synaptic 0.90.2. Let me quickly scroll down, and if it's installed, it should be like a green box, and installed version should be here. I'm going to scroll it down fast. If you want to slow down, you can change in the YouTube settings by playback speed to 0.25. So let me quickly scroll it down because I don't want to make a lengthy video. So if it's installed, it should be like a green box, and the installed version is here. So let me quickly scroll it down and up once again. You should be having a package managers. If you want, you can check that too. So here is the Discover. So let's close this thing. What we still left, I think we didn't left anything, I guess. Stacer. They gave a Stacer app here, which is a system monitor and optimizer. It says here. I think we saw it in like a Linux Lite, I guess. Linux Lite also has this type of app or a software. CPU is almost a 60%. That's pretty heavy, and RAM is good. This is here, and operating system info. So let's quickly go through all these things and end the video as soon as possible because there's nothing new in here. So let's exit this thing. Let's open the system tools and task manager. So you should be having an idea of how much resources are consumed. CPU is 96%, 33.1, and the memory is almost 1.2 GB. It was first like 700 MB or 800 MB. So it's up to you if you want to use this Linux distro. It's clearly up to you. If you want it, you can just boot it in a live mode. If you don't want, just ignore that, no problem. So let me close this thing and let me show you my channel and end the video. This part is only for the people who want to watch my content without subscribing. People who already subscribed, no need to watch this step, just skip this step. Just type in youtube.com/9to5linux. If you're using a web browser, you need to type in full URL like youtube.com/9to5linux. If you are using a YouTube app in any devices, you need to just type in 95 Linux, click on enter. And I forgot to mention that I'm using a VPN, so it should take a few more seconds rather than 2 or 3 seconds. It should take like a 5 to 7 seconds usually. So let's close this thing. It is taking a lot of time, not because of VPN, I don't know, maybe because of the Linux distro. I made a previous video of a Kubuntu, it opened instantly, but it took some time, no problem. So here is my channel, let's go to about. I will be posting 2 videos daily, so I already made a Kubuntu 23.04 stable version. So I mentioned here that I'll post 2 videos without missing. I'm making like 5 to 6 years. From 5 to 6 years, I just missed like 2 or 3 days, that's it. So here are the timings you need to visit at these timings. The video should be available before the timings and it should be put it in a premiere mode or a premiere. So you should be having an idea of what the content should be available. So here is the community page. So the latest packages or the latest distribution or some latest news should be available here. So keep an eye in here. So if you are the people who want to watch only the Linux content, just go to the playlist and you should be finding the Linux playlist. Click on view full playlist under Linux playlist. You should be having like a 1.6k videos, almost 1600 videos. I covered like 70 to 80% of Linux distros which are available in this world. The discontinued version or the alpha version, beta version, the unknown Linux distro, every Linux distro I covered here. Almost different types and varieties are all here. So let's go back. If you want to find the specific Linux distro or a specific term, just type in, for example, 23.04. If you remember the version, just type in the version, or if you remember the Linux distro name, you can type in that. So you should be having the latest videos here. As soon as the ISO file is released, whether it's alpha version, beta version, development version, pre-release, whatever it is, as soon as the ISO file is released, I'll make a content on it. So you don't need to be waiting for some other people. If you want to visit other channels, I have no problem, you can visit their channel. So the point is here to I'm trying to show you or trying to explain you is that the latest content should be available here. So I'll post the latest content. That's the main point I'm trying to explain. So that's it, I guess. If you want to subscribe, it's clearly up to you. If you don't want, no problem, it's your opinion, I respect your opinion. So let's close this thing and end the video. And again, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the thumbs up button, it helps make a good content for you. Other than that, I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Peace out.